Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? What's going on? We are back with you for another week of, say it with me, the Success Journey Show. That's right. Man, it's so good to be back another week. Marlon, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Well, I'm doing well, Ricky. I know now that I've seen, I really want to ask you how you're doing, being that, you know, you had something that was going on in your family, and I saw your wife start sharing it on Facebook, so I feel like I could ask you now to share with the public and kind of how you guys are setting up to go through that and everything. If you still don't feel comfortable talking about it, well, I understand, but you can go ahead. I really
you know, it's a interesting time, man. You know, it's my wife, just let all the travelers know, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer probably about a little over a month ago, and man, I tell you, when we got the news, it definitely was our hearts dropped, and it's weird because I stepped out of the house. We knew the doctor was going to be calling. We were setting up to go to a follow-up doctor's appointment after she had some testing done. And, you know, in my head, I'm like, man, everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. It's going to come back negative, whatever. We're going to be good. I know. And I went out to the store to grab something. I was coming back, and she called me on my way back, and just the fear that I heard in her voice and just being terrified. And I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And she was like, they just called me. And I was like, okay. And she said, I have cancer. And I was, wow. So, man, I mean, from that point, you know, it just went into a mode of like, okay, you know, be there, support, be there to cover, be there for praying and all those different things. And we got 3 boys too. So, you know, you're going through all this while they have no idea what's going on. So you're trying to juggle the whole 9. So travelers, just keep her lifted in prayer. We're very hopeful that everything's going to be okay. She started treatment. By the time you hear this, she's well into her treatment plans, and you know, they're building on that and monitoring that over the next few months. So yeah, it's it's one of those things, man. You look at life, and you know, we talk about this whole Success Journey show and this journey in life in itself. So you do not know what's going to happen. Right. From day to day. You can eat right, you can exercise, you can do a whole bunch of different things, save up all the money in the world, get all the education that you want, whatever, have the best job. You have no idea what tomorrow has in store for you. And I just implore everyone out there to just take advantage of today, man, and just live today and be fulfilled in this day. I was listening to something this morning, and you know, the person said, you know, there's 2 ways of living life. You know, one way being an achiever, which is really good, and a lot of people that are extremely successful are achievers. But then there's another component to it, and that is being fulfilled. And he said a lot of people have not reached that point of having a fulfilled life, no matter how much money that they have. And he said, I really, really encourage you guys to seek fulfillment right now, you know, wherever you are, what you're doing. Don't search for trying to achieve all these great things or obtain all these great things for that fulfillment to take place, because it never will. But if you find fulfillment in your today, in your here and now, that right there is what's going to bring you joy. And that's where we're trying to be right now, man. We have no idea what the near future is going to take place with my wife. And, you know, we're really just taking it day by day and cherishing each other, cherishing our time, and just really appreciating the life that we have. So yeah, thanks for asking me that, man. I wasn't even expecting to talk about that. But
It was I saw her start posting. So, you know, you want to always, in today's and age, a lot of people don't respect people's privacy, but I definitely want to respect somebody's privacy. But, you know, when we're able to put this out into the airwaves, and, you know, too much prayer is never bad. Yeah. So we're just asking everyone to lift her up in prayer, and let Nicole know that we're there for her, and, you know, whatever y'all need, we got you.
Man, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Man, I mean, I don't even know where to go from there, man. Why don't you share with our listeners, our new listeners, for this season? You know, this is our 4th season of the Success Journey Show, man. It's crazy to even saying that, season number 4. But Marlon, man, why don't you share what they miss, how they can catch up with us, and you know, what they can expect from this show that they're listening to.
Hey, our show, we're just bringing some dynamic guests. We have one today. Once we get through this preliminary, I want you guys to really hear this story, and this is going to be a testament to what's to come. All right. So if you want to catch us on the successjourneyshow.com, that's our website, and on any platform that you listen to a podcast on, we are there. Just look for the Success Journey Show. You see mountains, and you could grab us on Instagram and also on Twitter. We're Success Journey Show. On Twitter, it's success_show, and on Facebook, it's Success Journey Show. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what we're doing. Who, if you want to hear another guest, the same guest over again, or if you just want us to try to get a guest that you think will enlighten everyone and show the path to success.
Yep. We love you guys, man. We would not be here without you. We would not be recording these episodes over and over if we didn't know you weren't going to be listening, or we're going to be listening. So thank you for tuning in. And man, we are excited to be with you. And we have another amazing guest that is with us today. Oh my goodness, you guys. We told you we're bringing a strong lineup, strong stories. I don't think we had any story that was the same on this show, right?
No, haven't. And this one is totally different right here.
Totally different. And we have none other than Dr. Gattis. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Success Journey Show. How are you today?
Thank you. Oh, it's a blessing to be here. I appreciate you guys bringing me on and being able to share my story with you. Prayers go out to your wife, Ricky. I actually am a breast cancer survivor.
Oh man!
And so your story resonated with me, and so I'll definitely keep her in prayer, because I know exactly what she's going through.
Man, wow.
Oh, man. And testament that she can make it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the prayers. And what as we're getting revved up in your story, why don't you share with our listeners just a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I'm originally from New Jersey, Camden, New Jersey, and one of 4 kids for my mom. I'm the only girl, so I fall at number 3 with all my brothers. So of course, you know, growing up as the only girl, my brothers were very protective of me, and so I am a almost 31-year Army veteran. I just retired from the military back in 2018. Retired out of the Army War College, where I was a faculty instructor there. Spent time at the Pentagon, 6 years at the Pentagon, all over the world. I've traveled, you know, all the Asian countries, spent time in Africa, spent time in Germany, and so all over the place, and absolutely loved my military career. A graduate of Wilberforce University, first HBCU out of Ohio, and a graduate of Howard University for my master's degree. Wow. And God blessed me to be able to complete my PH.D. at Grand Canyon University back in 2017. So all of my degrees are in psychology. Married almost 21 years and have 2 boys. I got one that's getting ready to go off to college. This is his first year, and one that's a junior. So it's just really been a blessing to, you know, do all that I do and still be able to manage my family, you know. So
Yeah, definitely. So just to let the audience know, she lives about 3, Dr. Gattis lives 2 doors from me, right? Yeah. Yeah. And when I first moved into the neighborhood, I moved in August would be a year. So when I first moved into the neighborhood, I saw a van that had some writing on it, Meals on Wheels kind of thing, and I was like, that looks very. So I walked over there. You know me, I'm gonna introduce myself, and I was like, you know, tell me about what's this? And she she started to explain, Dr. Gattis started explaining to me all the stuff they did, and I was like, wow. But I'll tell you, it's just till now, thank God for the, not thank God for the COVID. I think the COVID kind of helped us to slow down. And I got a chance to say, hey, I'm going to be able to volunteer, handing out some food to the much needed people around the community. And Dr. Gattis made that possible. Dr. Gattis, can you talk about, before we jump into your late story, I just want you to kind of tell us about the Meals on Wheels, because it's very impressive, the numbers that last week when we were there, you were telling us about.
Yeah, so I'm the president and CEO of the Prince William County Community Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. One of the things that I wanted to do when I retired was to continue to serve, but serve in a much smaller capacity, so serve in our community. Didn't want to go out in corporate America and work another 9 to 5. And so the Lord placed in my heart to serve my community. And that's how we birthed the Prince William County Community Foundation. And so one of the things that we recognize is that there are about 28,000 kids in our community who are on free or reduced meals with the Prince William County schools. And of those 28,000, about half of them go hungry during the summer months, because school is out and a lot of these kids don't have transportation to get to the schools in order to, get those free meals. And so one of the things that we do is we have our Combating Hunger on Wheels, or our CHOW initiative, where we've partnered with Prince William County schools, and we take the meals into the community so that these 14,000 kids don't go hungry during the summer months. And so last summer we set up about four different areas around the county where kids were able to come to our location and get breakfast and lunch. Didn't cost them anything. Wow. The entire summer. So we did it 5 days a week for 10 weeks. So from the day they got out of school until the day before they went back to school, wow, we provided these meals. And so last summer we did about 9,000 meals for the kids. Wow. So here comes COVID. And when the schools closed down and they went to the online or the virtual learning, what we recognized is that there were going to be a lot of kids who weren't going to eat, again, because transportation is a big issue in our community. And so what we do, the schools, they provide the meals to go. So they were providing 2 meals a day for the kids. The problem is that a lot of the parents can't get to the schools in order to provide those meals. So one of the things that we do with our Chow Wagon is we set up at the different schools, and we take the meals to the community to feed the kids. And so we give anywhere from produce boxes, orange juice, eggs, milk, bagged groceries, snacks. We give that every single week. And so we've been doing, since COVID in March, we've distributed meals to almost 3,000 families, which equates to over 18,000 meals. So we've actually doubled our capacity since last summer. So, when we look at how long our program has been going on since last summer, we've done well over almost 35,000 meals, and over 3,000 families that we've served, since last summer.
Wow. Man, that's impressive, man.
Yes.
Yeah, that is huge. Talking about serving, going from, you say you want to go scale down your level of service. That doesn't sound like scale down to me. That sounds right on par, man. That's phenomenal. Now, how big is your team that's doing this? I want to give our audience an idea of just, how many hands you have working with you to feed 3,000 families.
Yeah, so we've been pretty blessed, because I tell you, so I have a board of directors of course, and then, but and of course, my husband is like my right hand person. He
I was
helps
going to talk
me
about him. Yes.
to gather up all this food and to get it out to the community. But I tell you, we've been blessed because we have over 40 volunteers who come out week after week after week to help us to serve our community. They love it. And, you know, a lot of people try to understand what we do, but it's not until you actually come out and you do hands-on and see the people and serve the community that you have this appreciation for our community and community service. And so that's what we try to promote, is people to come out and actually see the people who we serve, because we never really know who's in need.
Correct.
You know, hunger doesn't have a face, right? And so, you know, what we do is we go out there and we serve people. We don't care what your income level is. We don't care what you're driving or anything like that. Our thing is, if you have a need for food, we're gonna feed you. We don't want a whole lot of information from people. If you come see us, we're gonna feed you.
Wow. And you guys weren't, you know, in this whole pandemic and now going out and having direct contact with individuals, you know, how did you, you know, manage, like, you know, the fear, I would say fear, if there was fear, or just the whole COVID in general. Now you're putting yourself and your team in a position where I know you want to serve a community that's hungry, that has a need, but yet you're putting yourself in the line of duty, in the sense of, man, I'm jeopardizing my health at this point. You know, talk about just, and I know this probably goes into, you know, even as in your service in the military, in the Army, that same type of mindset, like, hey, I got to get out there. So can you just share with our listener just that mindset of still serving, even though in the midst of potential danger to your own self?
Yeah, so, you know, there are a lot of frontline workers out there, and we consider ourselves frontline workers because, again, we have a community who's in need. And so one of the things that we do is, you know, we have the PPE to provide to all of our volunteers. We make sure that folks have on their face mask, and we have face shields. We've had, you know, people to donate face shields to us, face masks to us. We've had a local company to donate hand sanitizer to us. So we do provide, you know, the protective equipment for our community. But, you know, when you're out there, you just don't think about that. I mean, you know, we're always going to take our health into consideration, but when you see the faces of kids and when you see the faces of your community and know that there's a need, sometimes those things become secondary. And believe me, we have a lot of prayer. You know, we're not going to be crazy to go out there and put ourselves on the line as far as, you know, getting COVID-19 and, you know, thankfully, you know, we've all been tested and no one is tested positive for it. But we have a mission to do, and we're determined that we're going to help eradicate hunger in our community, you know, one meal at a time, because people are in need. And so, you know, we are those frontline workers to help provide those needs, those meals to our community.
Yeah.
Yes. And the reason, Ricky, why I wanted to start, usually we start at the birth of somebody's, but I wanted to start at the, well, this is the birth right here because it's still only 2 years old, right? But in the sense of, now we can go back into your past and see how the past prepared you for what you're doing right now. And that's what I love, is that just like Ricky alluded to, you being in the military, and even in the beginning, it's so crazy that I asked you that question, and it was that the fulfillment that you talk about, right? Man, God works in mysterious ways. So the fulfillment that a lot of people might think achieving success is a monetary thing, but here you see someone that said, Dr. Gattis is saying that she have her PhD, she could have came out being a psychiatrist, sky's was the limit, military experience, being in charge of people taught at the War College, which is very prestigious.
Health, all that stuff.
Health, all that different stuff. But now you take yourself and you say, hey, this is why I'm going to do this. Was there something in your past, going through your 31 years of service, the time in New Jersey and Camden, what was it that created that mindset of just that self-service, that selfishness, unselfishness to serve others?
Well, I can tell you that in growing up, I grew up in a single parent home.
Okay.
And you know, my mom was, although she only had a high school education was very important to her. And so she's always instilled in us that we could achieve anything. And I was very competitive. Again, coming from a family with all boys, you know, I was competitive, and I was like, I'm not gonna let anyone beat me. And you know, and so my brothers and I, we competed all the time, and that's kind of what drove me, was because I didn't want to lose. And so that was my driving factor. And then the other thing too, when you come from poverty, you have appreciation for what you don't have, right? And one of the things that I was told as I came up through the ranks in the military is that I couldn't achieve some things, that I wasn't smart enough to achieve some things. You know, even though, you know, I was a scholarship student and all that, there's some people who just don't believe that you have what it takes to, you know, to achieve. And that was my driving factor, because I used to love people to tell me what I couldn't do, because it made me more determined to prove people wrong. And it wasn't really proving people wrong, but more so me proving to myself that I could do whatever it was that I set my mind to. And you know, one of my favorite scriptures is Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans that I have for you, and it's to give you an expected end. And so I take that and I'm like, you know what? God has a plan for everyone, right? Sometimes we don't know what that plan is, but we just got to walk it out. And that's what I believe is what I'm doing, because I had no idea, you know, 2 years ago that we would be where we are today for the foundation. If someone had asked me 10 years ago, would I be running a nonprofit organization, I would have thought they were crazy, right? Because we all have this aspiration to make as much money as we can.
Correct.
And I don't get fulfillment with trying to get riches. I get fulfillment when you serve people, and when you have a servant's heart, you know, that's where fulfillment comes in. And so I absolutely love what I do. I couldn't see me doing anything else. I mean, I'm also a professor, so I do teach, but again, that's serving people.
Exactly.
And I love my students, I love my community, and so I just have a servant's heart, and I just do what God tells me to do, what He shows me or instructs me to do. I mean, you know, and I just don't think twice, and I get fulfillment. So every day that I get up, knowing that I'm going to serve, you know, meals in our community, or go teach my students, I mean, it brings me joy. And a lot of people can't say that they have joy, right? Because joy and happiness is two different things. When you have joy, there's a fulfillment, you know, in you, and I'm fulfilled. I love what I do.
Yeah, no, love it. You know, it's a oh man, I'm glad. Everything is just connecting today.
Yes, I'm telling you.
And travelers, I hope you guys are really hearing this. You have someone that, you know, education. There's no gaps in education. There's no gaps in opportunities. You know, but being able to choose the thing that's going to fulfill her. You know, and the things that she has chosen to do right now is all in the name of serving. And I mean, really, that's been her story for the past 30 plus years, you know, probably even before that, you know, just be in that capacity of serving countries, serving others, serving students, in the education. I know on the teaching end, that is a service area, man, especially with students these days, and no matter what level it is. But just having that. So what I want to ask you, and I really want to take this in a direction of, there are a lot of people that have thought about starting a nonprofit, thought about trying to find what way to serve community or career, whatever it may be. We'll stick with nonprofit and serving aspect of it. When you started thinking about, hey, this is what I want to do, and going out and feeding the community, what are some things started going through your head as terms of how to start setting up this organization to actually operate in the way they're operating now?
So one of the things that I did before I got off of active duty up at the War College, I went and I talked with a president and CEO of a nonprofit organization to just kind of understand what it meant to run a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very frank and very curt with me and told me it's not easy, because you're running it, you gotta find money, because with all nonprofits we have to raise money in order for us to do what we do. You gotta find volunteers, and you really gotta find people who has a passion for this type of service, because nonprofit work is not for everyone, because there's not a lot of money in it. And so if you're coming into a nonprofit for the money, it's the wrong business.
Yeah.
Right. But if you come into it for service, then that's where you'll get your fulfillment. And so, in talking with her, and it didn't discourage me at all. I was like, okay, so that's another challenge.
Yes.
And so I took it as a challenge, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start this. I didn't know where to begin, but I just started doing research. I'm a natural researcher, of course,
Mm-hmm.
having my PhD. And so I went out and I just researched what I needed to do in order to start the organization. And a lot of stuff I stumbled upon, because you got to understand the laws and all the policies and all of those things. And after you start doing research, you're like, wow, I didn't know that. And I didn't know that. And along the way, don't get me wrong, I was discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a determination to ensure that something works, or you want to make it happen, then discouragement may be there for a split second, but then you just keep on. And that those are things that I learned in the military. It's like you just keep putting your hand to the plow, and you just keep going and going. And that's what I did. And then and I was fortunate because I was able to hook up with someone. I mean, and it definitely was heaven sent, because I wound up hooking up with my apostle at my church. She's been running this same type of program for over 20 years.
Wow.
And when we met, I was like, wow, we're doing the same thing. And it was kind of amazing to see that there's someone out there who has this same type of heart as you do. And so I was like, I need to go and see what you're doing and come down there and help out, and and put my hands to the plow, and learn from someone who's been there. And so, she allowed me to come to North Carolina and work next to her and learn and understand, the things that she was doing. And then she was like, no, I need to come to Virginia so I can learn from you, from what you're doing. You've been doing this only for 2 years, and you see, where you're going. And so, my thing is, we all can learn from one another, because there's something that someone has that we may need. And being able to learn from peers, learn from mentors and things like that is what helped you to accomplish what you accomplish. And so, I'm very grateful to, have been able to sit up under Apostle Pay, and to learn, this whole business, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
you know, I'm happy to do it. And
Yeah.
you know, and again, you know, my husband is you know, one of my key supporters.
Secret
You know,
weapon.
I have 3 heartthrobs and him and my 2 boys. And you know, no matter what I want to accomplish, you know, he's been right there. He's been there almost 21 years. You know, even when I go through, you know, my little innuendos and things like that, you know, he's still very understanding of where I am because, you know, I have a big brain and, you know, and sometimes I can be all over the place, but, you know, I'm just so grateful that he's understanding and know that, you know, I have someone that's in my corner to support me no matter what, you know, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm seeing the time here, Rick. So we're gonna let it run down and then go into the second,
Yep. Let it run down. Let it shut off.
and then go into the second. I'm definitely gonna. This is going real well. This is exactly. We're letting the I think the Lord is leading the conversation to where it needs to be. Because I did not know you were a cancer survivor. I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. I mean,
Okay.
I'm 14 years cancer free.
Okay, so we'll definitely in the next segment and I also, because I know, being you being connected to the to the all the different to the vice mayor and everything else. I see there's some. I want to touch on some of the topics that or the classes that you teach, which is very prominent for what's going on today. Talking about socio-cultures and political, it's a very relevant to what's going on today. So as much as you can open up on that, we'd definitely like to touch on some of those subjects.
Okay, no problem.
Come back after this.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You can check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
So, travelers, I really, really hope that you are hearing what is being shared today, man. It is it's really touching to me because, I'm hearing the little things in between things that are being said, the unspoken things and things that is resonating with me. Just to give you an idea of how I hear these things is, mentorship and connecting with people. When you want to be successful with something, you need to find people that have traveled that road to success before you and mimic what they've done. Dr. Gattis had an opportunity to reach out to people that she had known that had started a non-for-profit organization and ask them, hey, what can I expect coming from this, going into this, and getting real hard, concrete advice as to how she should shape her mind around doing this. And then even receiving more insight, as to the food distribution and things of that nature. There's a lot that goes into that. Where you source the food from, how you prepare the food, get all the food out. It's a lot. So to be able to talk to someone that was doing it for 20 plus years, or Apostle has been doing it for 20 plus years, that right there has set her up, her trajectory for success in this area, pushed it much further along the way, because she's able to tap into people that already been successful in doing it. So what I want you to hear from this is that, whatever journey that you're on, wherever you're trying to go, you don't have to walk alone. Find people, and maybe people in your network, people that are not in your network. I know everyone's on social media now because that's where you find the Success Journey Show on Instagram and Facebook and all the places, So go to LinkedIn or whatever it is. We're over there as well. And search, hey, I want to become this. Type it in there, Find people that you can connect to, that you can follow, that you can share, read articles, whatever it may be, so that it can expedite your learning. But, you also mentioned that you teach, and, can you share I know you said you focus in psychology, your background in psychology. Can you share a little bit about some of the courses that you teach at it's a community college in your area? You teach at?
So I teach at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, the
Okay.
Washington, D.C. campus.
Gotcha.
I teach all doctoral students.
Mm.
And so
Not different
one
from
of the
community college. I was way off on that. Sorry.
yeah, no problem. But one of the courses that I teach is ethics and professional development. So I am one of the first professors that these doctoral students get when they come into our program. And you've got to learn about ethics and professionalism because, you know, integrity means a lot, not only in education, but in your professional life. And so if your integrity stink, you know, you just out there, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got to learn how to be an ethical person. And so I'm in the international psychology department, and so all of our students will be going overseas to be international psychologists. And so the way that we learn how to do things here in the US is going to be different than how they do things internationally. You know, their laws are going to be a whole lot different than what we have here. Some may be a little bit more lax than the US, or some may be more strict. And so, you know, one of the things that we have to ensure that they understand is you are a representation of this country. You know, no matter what their laws are, you're a representation of the US. And so your integrity, your professionalism, all of that is going to follow you where you go. And so that's one of the things that I want to make sure that we hone in is that, you know, they follow the ethical principles of, you know, the American Psychological Association, because that's why we have principles and laws to follow those. And so, you know, we teach those principles to these upcoming psychologists so that they know how to act when they go out of the US. You know, we also look at, you know, really just how to perform in the workplace, right? Because there's so much that's going on in the workplace, and if you don't have high standards, you'll fall for anything. And there's a lot that's going on in the workplace. And you know, the one thing that no one can ever take from you is your integrity. You either going to make or break your integrity. You're the one who shapes that. Even if there's a bunch of chaos that's going on around you, you hold steady to your principles.
Correct.
Right? And that's what we try to teach our students is that, you know, no matter what situation you find yourself in, always hold to the principles that you've been taught, both personally and professionally, because that's how you're going to get to the next level, believe it or not, you know. And so, you know, one of the things I like to discuss is my dissertation looked at workplace bullying. I studied how resilience could be used as a platform or a coping strategy for women who dealt with workplace bullying. Because again, when we look at what's going on in the workplace today, there's a whole lot of bullying going on. They don't call it bullying, they call it other things.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? And so we've got to learn how to deal with those people in the workplace that want to do some bad things.
Yes.
You know, and we got to know how to cope with it, how do you deal with someone who thinks that you're not smart enough to do the job that you've been hired to do, or demean you or belittle you? How do you deal with those things? And that's the thing that we've got to teach people in the workplace on how to deal with those things. And so, when I think about what I studied for my dissertation and what I'm teaching at the Chicago School, it all works hand in hand because, students need to know, what they're going to be faced with once they get out there and really start dealing with, the public, and they start dealing in a professional setting because everyone is different. And, more than anything, you've got to know how to deal with people and yet keep your sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Can keep that professionalism because, it's bad enough that you get all kind of labels,
Yes.
in the workplace, but, to be labeled angry or, non-cooperative and things like that, those are not good labels to carry throughout your professional career. And so,
Absolutely.
the old saying, never let them see you sweat.
Yeah.
You can be angry about something, but you don't have to allow it to show. There are other ways to deal with, what's going on in the workplace. And so, you just never let your professionalism down.
Yeah.
No matter what is going on. There are different ways to deal with, those adversities in the workplace.
Absolutely.
Rick, I have to tell you, man, I think she has a Jedi kind of psychology too, because, her husband loved one team and she loves another. I won't even, and
Yeah.
one loves Duke and
Right. I'm a diehard Duke fan, and my husband is a diehard UNC Tar Heel fan.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
man.
So yeah. So and Michael Jordan, I love Mike, so I had to back up her husband, right?
Yeah. No. I love it.
It's great. I love the fact that you're, especially in the military, we talk about the holistic person, right? Not just somebody that's good at one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, but you need somebody that could be able to be bloom where they're planted, right?
Right.
And I see you as a person that, and from your past, your brothers, you being the only girl, and you're at the third, so you're not the last, you're still not the second, but you're there, and you still have to compete with them until you go into and we could all say the military is a male-dominated environment. And like you said, you could get labeled while you're in there. All these different things can happen, but you rise to the top, and they saw that, all your accolades show it. Now, you touched on something. I'm gonna ask you point blank, as a psychologist, psychiatrist, how do you see some females, or let's say a person, let's not put, because it can happen to anyone, that's in the workplace and they're trying to rise at the same time a person is saying to them, tit for tat, in order to get to the next level, you have to do X, Y, Z. How do you tell somebody to circumvent that situation, or what would you give them as advice if they're in that situation and they came to you?
Right. Well, the first thing is you have to know your job. I think a lot of times people want to go from, the first floor to the top floor without learning in between. And success doesn't come overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gradual process. And if you're not willing to learn from your mistakes, allow people to mentor you, to guide you, then it doesn't matter what I say or anyone else say, you're going to try and circumvent the system in order to get to the top. But it's a learned process. And so, you have to be good at what you do. Mm-hmm. And in order to be good at what you do, there's some steps that you have to take. You know, you take professional development classes. You take, you go and you talk to different people and learn how they do it. You learn from your bosses. You learn from good ones, and then you learn from not so good ones.
Absolutely.
Because you learn, you know,
different ways.
Okay, I'd like to mimic that, or
Don't
when I get to that position, I won't be doing that, because you're learning from those people. And even when we have some challenging bosses, you know, you still learn some things from them, because you learn what not to do.
Correct.
Right? Because if you never see people make mistakes, or who are very challenging, then you can't learn what to do or what not to do. And so, you know, the first thing I would tell someone is, not every situation is a bad situation, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't learn how to manage or cope with what's going on in the workplace, then when you're faced with a situation, you don't know how to deal with it, right? Because we get put in situations in order for us to learn from it, right? So our trials become testimonies for what is to come.
Yeah.
And so you can't guide someone else through an issue if you haven't gone through it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so as people are going through, you know, these tests and trials and successes, you learn from that, and you store it up here to say, okay, I've been through that before. This is how I dealt with it. And so you take those experiences, and then you keep building on those experiences, so that by the time you become the one in charge, you know, you have experience for all those other steps that you had to take to get where you are. And so that's why I say, you know, don't try and rise too fast, because you're not learning.
Yeah.
You know, this is a learned process.
Yeah.
And in order, you know, it took me almost 30 years to go from a private E1 to a senior colonel, 06.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen overnight, you know. And so you just learn from all your experiences, and then you try to teach and mentor others to say, yeah, it may be a long road, but it's worth it. It's worth it once you get to the top, and then you pull other people up. You know, you don't just get there and just, you know, allow all these other people to just stay there. No, you teach and you train and you mentor people to help get them to where you are, because eventually they're going to get to that position after you retire. And so you want them to be as experienced, you know, as you are, or even more experienced, so that when they face adversities, when they face success, they know exactly how to deal with it.
Correct. Man, yeah. Man, it's funny, guys. And this is no coincidence. She hasn't even heard the previous episode because it wasn't released by the time we recorded this. Correct. So we can't say we planned it this way or even prepped her in this way. But the same thing, same message from the last one. You can't skip the process. You can't rush the process. Don't rise too quickly. I love that. Do not rise too quickly. You know, it's so important, because in this process of learning, if you skip any steps or if you rush too fast, it's going to be detrimental to your next phase that you're going to, because you're going to be lacking something, you know, and that's what we don't want. We don't want anybody lacking anything on this journey. But I must say, you know, I've heard a lot of what you've done, what you're doing, your mindset of getting there. But, you know, you also opened up to sharing that you also had a experience breast cancer, which I know from my experience now, or, you know, my wife's experience and experiencing it through her, just how detrimental that can be and tragic that could be to yourself, to your family, and things of that nature. You know, during this whole rising process in your life, you know, how did something like that impact you along your journey?
Well, I can tell you that it came to me as a surprise, of course. I found out on Valentine's Day in 2006 that, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and that it was aggressive and that I had to go through my treatments immediately. I had a toddler, and my youngest son had just turned a year old. And when someone tells you that you have a disease that you don't know whether or not you're going to live or die, your mind just starts going crazy. And so, my thing was, I never asked why, because I believe that the Lord takes us through things in order to be a testimony to other people. But I couldn't help but wonder if I was going to be around for my boys when they grew up and to be there for my family. And so, in the beginning, the news was devastating, but, my faith helped me to get through it. And so, whereas some people would accept the fact that they have cancer, I never claimed that I had cancer. I always say that I was diagnosed with it. So I never took ownership of it, because I felt like if I did, then my mindset would have been different. And that's what helped me to get through it. And then, I had a very good support system, of course, with my husband and my mom and my church family and friends, my sorority sisters. They helped me to get through it. And so I believe that it was all in my mindset, because again, I had to live for my family. I was like, there's no way that, I could be taken out right now because I have a family to care for. And so I was determined. I went through, treatments like different than others had gone through, but I decided to have a mastectomy versus go through chemo and radiation, because I just didn't want for my boys to see me, without any hair or anything like that. And I couldn't see all that radiation and stuff in my body, so I chose a different route. And they were able to get all of the cancer out of my body, and it's been 14 years, and I'm grateful. And one of the things that I try to do is, anyone that I find out has been diagnosed with breast cancer, I share my story with them, because it is hard. When a doctor gives you that type of news, your mind just starts racing, and you got to be able to find that calmness to be able to process all of it. And again, with my faith, the Lord was able to allow me to process what was going on. And I just trust in the healing process, because, we can have all kind of doctors and stuff, and you can take all kind of medication. But, my belief is that the Lord is the ultimate healer. And that's who I turned to for my healing.
Amen. Amen.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this is an episode for Nicole, man, and you, in terms of, I think, and Mr. Gattis he's a very, man, you should really be around this guy. He's really, I don't know if he's like that in the house, but he's very soft spoken, doesn't speak a lot. Kind of the guy that want to be in the backdrop and don't want the praises. Last week we were at a event for the nonprofit organization, and when they called his name up to get a certificate, he said, "Don't worry about it." He's like, "I don't need to go up." You know, so I don't know if you know Dr. Gattis, but I'm an avid people watcher, and I watch how people operate, and I start to assess how I want to deal with that person, or if I want that person in my space. And once I saw that, I was really like, okay, I could see how this whole thing is working together, because you have somebody that like yourself, who you said had the vision. He came together, and then you guys made it with the help of God. And I want to thank you for sharing, because this has been very eye-opening for me, and also just seeing somebody go through what they're Ricky said at the beginning, that fulfillment of just, I don't care if I don't make $1 million. What I'd rather feed 1 million people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why 14 years ago you were spared by the Lord to fulfill what you're doing now. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, definitely. It's been amazing having this conversation with you, and man, we gotta have you back on in the future, just to see, how your non-for-profit has grown. When we need to do something, when I'm down in the area,
right,
let me know when you guys are going out, and we'll come in and actually, if we're allowed, to just film and do something right on the spot, and just showing the great work that you're doing out there. We really appreciate you for, you change one service uniform to another.
We'll overlook the Duke thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But really appreciate everything that you share with us. Now, so for those travelers that are out there, listeners all over the world, or even local, if they want to volunteer, or they want more information,
or they want to donate,
can you please share just your information so that they can have that?
Yeah, so our website is pwccfoundation.org. And if you go onto our website, it gives the history of, what we're doing. You can see how we serve our community. You can donate on our website. So all of our information is there. And even if you wanted to volunteer, we have the volunteer application on the website, can download it and send it to us. Anyone, so from students on up to, senior season folks can come out and donate. To volunteer, because, we've had students, we've had organizations, we've had churches who've come out and volunteered with us. We're always looking for donations. Of course, as a nonprofit organization, we have to raise our own money. Our goal is to get another chow wagon so that we can double the capacity for our service. We've served almost 18,000 meals. We want to double that. If we can get to 36,000 meals with another vehicle, then we want to do that, because there's still so much work to be done in our community. And so we're always grateful for sponsorships, donations, from, just everyday people to organizations to businesses. And we're always grateful, and every donation is tax deductible. So we do send receipts for anyone who makes a donation to us. And again, our website is pwccfoundation.org, and we do have our donation platform there. And if people want to visit us on Facebook to see exactly what we're doing on a given week, our Facebook page is PWCC Foundation, and pull us up. It shows where we travel every week to give out our donations, and and it gives people a chance to see our volunteers at work and what they're doing in our community.
Yeah, love it.
I want to go out on a limb here, Ricky.
Yeah.
The Success Journey Show will donate $1,000.
Oh, wow.
And I want people to match it.
There you go.
I want people to match it. So if you're listening to this, we're going to donate the Success Journey Show is going to donate $1,000, and I want people to match it. And let's make sure that we get this other chow wagon. It's a beautiful chow wagon. It's nice. I'll get a picture of it so we can put it up. So we could definitely get more meals to where they're needed, because this is a topic that needs to be talked about. The people going hungry. There should be no way we're in a first world country and people are going hungry.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, travelers, you heard it today, straight from Dr. Gattis, the servant. It's just amazing that we're able to hear her story today. And there's so many other stories just like hers on our website, the Success Journey Show. Please take an opportunity to click on the show notes, go to the link of her website and leave a donation, fill out a volunteer form if you're in an area to come and volunteer. If you happen to travel into this area and you want to volunteer or just connect, go to their Facebook page, go to her website and just find out how you can be involved. Not only her, but so many other guests that we've had on the show. We have their information there. Go onto their sites, share their information, like their pages, like their posts. And we're trying to push positive messages out there. And we know, right now in the world that we're living in, you're seeing a lot more turmoil, the scares, the virus, the unrest and things of that nature. And we're trying to counteract that with positive messages that we can put out into this world, of showing people that are doing great things all around this world and touching lives all around this world. So do your part. Go to our website, the Success Journey Show. Find all the other shows that we and interviews that we've had. Share, like, post, comment, review on all of our social media as well as our podcast platforms. And we promise you one thing: we will be back next week at the same time, the same place on the Success Journey Show. All right, everyone, have a good one.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.